So Manhattan is usually the spot that people go to when they think of Chinatown, but actually the biggest Chinatown in New York City is in Queens. And in Queens, they have a place called New World Mall. And in the basement of this mall is a massive Chinese food court. I have never been here before, and I was super excited to check it out, and I was not disappointed. So for the next 3 days, I kept coming back to try as many restaurants as I could in this food court. It was honestly a bit overwhelming, but I think I managed to stop by some of the best restaurants they had. So come with me as I try all of this amazing, authentic Chinese food. My first stop was to a restaurant that was serving Chongqing style noodles. And I got the classic Chongqing style spicy noodles. I could probably honestly eat like 100 bowls of these. The broth was super flavorful, the ingredients were fresh, and the noodles were nice and tender. I could have gotten some meat add-ins to this, but I wanted to try it in its true authentic form, and I was not disappointed. And although this is made with Sichuan peppercorns and hot red oil, I honestly didn't think it was that spicy. It was a nice and mild spice. It made everything really, really flavorful. I really couldn't get enough of these noodles. They were super good. Even without the protein, this was a hearty meal, and I would definitely come back. If you like spicy noodles, this is the place to go. Next up was a spicy dry pot restaurant. This is the type of restaurant where you go and you get to pick all of the ingredients that you want before they cook it. You pay for everything by the pound, and once you're done picking out everything, they go in the back and they cook it. You also pick your spice level, so you can pick whether you want it to be really spicy or less spicy. Everything is cooked together and served in a big wooden bowl alongside a small bowl of rice. I ordered a bunch of different ingredients to be cooked up and a bunch of stuff I hadn't tried before. Starting, I got beef, and yeah, it was beef. It was super good. I also got lotus root. Lotus root is one of my favorite vegetables. It's crunchy and delicious. I also got these tiny little chicken wings. Can't go wrong with chicken wings. They're always good. I got these fish cakes I had never tried before. Honestly, these were good. They were just super fishy. Next up, I got duck blood. I've never tried duck blood before, but I was feeling adventurous, and honestly, this was not my favorite thing. It was more of a texture thing that I didn't like. Finally, I got these full head-on prawns. They were packed full of flavor. I will spare you the videos of me devouring these, but they were very good. I had eaten a lot, but I was still feeling hungry, so I decided to go over and try these dumplings. I kept on seeing people with plates of these, and they looked really good. So I went over and I ordered 6 of them. They were fried and sprinkled with black sesame seeds. I put soy sauce on top, and on the inside was a very delicious but very hot pork filling. I burned my mouth on this, but it was still very, very good. I could go back and eat another 6 of these if I wanted to. They were packed full of this really flavorful liquid from the pork, and everything about it was just nice and warm and delicious. This was a really good way to end my first day of trying as much food as I could at the New World Mall food court. The next day I came back to the mall, and the first place I went to was a restaurant that I believe specialized in steamed foods. At least that's what the name implied. This chicken leg was super tender and topped with a bunch of chilies, cilantro, and green onions. It fell right off the bone. Despite being covered in chilies, it actually was not that spicy. I really enjoyed the flavor of this. It was very unctuous, very delicious. The seasonings on top really made it something that I would go back for. This restaurant also had a bunch of other stuff on the menu, including individual hot pots and other steamed items. But for now, this chicken leg was the perfect first dish for my tour of the rest of this food court. I don't really know what else there is to say about this. It was pretty straightforward, but also very, very good. So if you like chicken, you like spice, you like cilantro, come on down and order this. It is definitely worth it. Next, I went to a restaurant that was specializing in Xi'an, Western Chinese style food, and I ordered a Rojiao Mo. A Rojiao Mo is like a Chinese hamburger, is often how it's described. It is a street food specialized in Xi'an that comes with chopped meat, peppers, and on the outside is this flaky crust, and you eat it with your hand, much like you would eat a hamburger. I would actually consider it more to be like a Philly cheesesteak without the cheese. Regardless, this is a very, very good dish. If you like very strong, meaty flavors, I would 100% recommend this. It is a really good standalone meal or snack. Next up was seafood. This restaurant's specialty dish was a crab dish. It was whole crabs served on top of vegetables, mushrooms, and chicken feet, served with a side of rice and soup. So I dug in, and before I even ate the crab, I started with the chicken feet. The chicken feet were gelatinous and full of cartilage, but they were also packed full of flavor. There was also mushrooms and potatoes in this dish. This was a really big meal. There was a lot of food in this bowl. And on the side, there was, like I said, rice and soup. It also came with corn, and finally I got to the crab. And really, you just had to go and bite into it. Here's me talking to the person next to me and laughing over something. I was clearly not very skilled at eating this, but once I was able to get through the shell and get to the crab meat, it was really, really good. And like I said before, this was a lot of food. I mean, there was probably like 4 or 5 crabs in this bowl total. Alongside the soup and the rice, this was a hearty meal. I was feeling pretty full, but I had one more restaurant in mind for the day. The final restaurant I went to on day 2 was a restaurant that specialized in duck noodle soup. They had a few different varieties of broth and soups on the menu, as well as dumplings, but I wanted to try their specialty classic duck noodle soup. This soup was packed full of tofu, duck meat, and noodles, as well as some cilantro and bok choy. This soup was good. The tofu soaked up the flavor of the broth. The duck inside the soup was nice and tender and full of flavor. To be completely honest, this type of noodle isn't my favorite. I did like the Chongqing noodles better, but this was really good. I would go back and try all of the other flavors they have. They also had on the menu a bunch of dumplings, and I wanted to try those. But that wrapped up day 2. I couldn't wait to go back the next day and try even more food. It was day 3 and I was ready to eat more noodles, so I headed over to this restaurant that specialized in rice noodles. I asked what they would recommend to order, and they said these spicy beef noodles. So that's what I ordered. These noodles were spicy and delicious. They were packed full of big pieces of beef, as well as fish cakes, quail eggs, some pickled vegetables, and of course rice noodles. And there were a lot of noodles in this soup. The broth itself was super rich. It had soaked up the flavor of all of the beef. The noodles were super tender. The pickled vegetables were a really good touch. They added a nice sourness to the soup. And man, the beef was so tender and full of flavor. I wish I had ordered extra beef because it was that good. This was a really good bowl of noodles, and I can't wait to go back and try everything else they have on the menu. The final restaurant I went to specialized in fish soup. I ordered a pickled vegetable spicy broth soup with basa fish. This was probably one of the favorite dishes I had out of everything I had tried in the last 3 days. This soup was packed full of ingredients. It was made with whole Sichuan peppercorns, it had bean sprouts, corn, tofu, pickled vegetables, and of course the basa fish. I've never had basa fish before, but it reminded me a lot of tilapia. The fish was super tender and very spicy. The tofu was a nice addition because it soaked up a lot of the flavor from the broth and the pickled vegetables. I was expecting this to be very fishy, but honestly, the seafood flavor was very mild. I was extremely happy I tried this, and I know I said it before, but I can't wait to go back and try everything else that they have on the menu because this was, like I said, probably one of the favorite things I had in the last 3 days. My 3-day food court tour was over, and I felt it was fitting to end the adventure with something sweet, so I headed over to Tiger Sugar, and I ordered a black sugar boba coffee latte. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a wonderful day. See ya.